Happy Friday, everybody. This is Dr. Stephanie, your double board certified critical care physician who works with physicians who are burned out with their careers, struggling with their jobs, or who have questions about their next career move. Through my books, webinars, professional speaking, and professional coaching for physicians, I help physicians discover alternative jobs and careers in medicine so that they can practice medicine on their own terms. Today, we're going to take a couple of minutes to talk about something that every physician has experienced, and that is working with physician recruiters. It is very important, whether you're searching for a job, wanting a new job, changing jobs, to learn how to maximize your interactions with physician recruiters so that your time is not wasted and you get the most bang for your buck. So I'm going to share with you over the next couple of minutes 5 strategies for effectively working with physician recruiters. The first thing that you have to do with the physician recruiters is to talk to them. Now, and I know in the day of digital media and social media and texting and emailing, we sometimes forget that human interaction is very important, and we lose a lot of human interaction when we don't talk to people. So therefore, it is imperative that when you're searching for a job or trying to change a job, that when you're dealing with physician recruiters, that at least you pick up the phone and speak to them on the phone so that you can better express your ideas, better express your desires in terms of what you're looking for in a job, and kind of get a feel for that person and their personality to see if that's somebody you want to work with on a professional basis. So talk to your recruiter. The second thing that you should know before you start dealing with any kind of physician recruiter, whether it be for locums assignment or whether it's for a permanent job, is that you need to know what you want before you start talking to these recruiters, because that way when you know what you want, you won't waste anybody's time by considering an opportunity that you were never interested in the first place. So I would highly recommend that you just take some time to decide what it is you want. Do you want a permanent position? Do you want a locums position? What type of position do you want? Do you want to practice inpatient medicine? Do you want to practice outpatient medicine? Do you want to stay where you with what you're kind of doing now, or do you want something totally different? Do you want a clinical job? Do you want a non-clinical job? How many hours do you want to work? Where do you want to live? Are you willing to travel for your job? How much money do you want to make? What benefits, what perks do you want? These are all things that you pretty much need to have figured out before you start the job search process. So then that way, you know, a recruiter won't waste your time talking to you about some job in California if you live in New York and you have decided that there's no way you're going to move. The next thing that you need to do when speaking to recruiters is to ask a lot of questions. This goes without saying. Of course, you need to ask a lot of questions about the job opportunity that they're presenting to you. And not only do you need to ask questions, you need to get them to specify these things in writing via email so that if there's any question about specific topics, you can reference that in your emails correspondence. So you need to ask plenty of questions about, the job opportunity that they're presenting to you. But you also need to ask questions about how the physician recruitment process works. First of all, you need to ask whether or not, you're going to be working with them independently, or do they work as a part of a recruitment firm? Are you having to be exclusive to them, or can you work with different physician recruiters in different firms during your process? You also need to make sure that they don't present you to any clients without you giving them permission to do so. You need to ask how long their presentation clause is. So what I mean by that is, in some instances, once a firm presents you to a client, they essentially own you for 1 to 2 years depending on the contract, which means that even if that particular opportunity didn't work out, if another opportunity with the same client presents itself, you must still go through that recruiter or that firm for a period of 1 to 2 years based on what the agreement is. You also have to consider whether or not you have to sign a contract with the recruitment firm. And most of the times, they do require you to sign a contract, and like I said, that contract will specify things like their presentation process, how long you are bound to them once they present you to a client. The other thing you need to ask is how the recruiter is getting compensated. Now, most recruiters are paid by the client. They're paid a finder's fee by the client. So you should never be asked to pay money up front for somebody to help you find a job. And even when you're dealing with locums agencies, the locums companies are paid by the client, and they then pay you. So you should pay no money out of pocket in order to find a job. And I will take this as an opportunity to say that, also be very careful, especially when you're first coming out. People do tend to take advantage of young physicians. They think we make a lot of money, and they know that you're eager to start working. And so sometimes they do try to take advantage of you. But you should always realize you should not have to pay anybody to find you a job. Neither should you have to pay anybody to work for them. So be really careful about these opportunities that try to present themselves as, physician partner opportunities, because in the way things usually work is when you have worked with a company for several years, they may or may not offer you the opportunity to buy into partnership. It very rarely is an opportunity in which somebody's like, hey, you can come work for me, but oh, by the way, we're going to have to pay a couple of $1,000s to be able to work for me. That is a no-no. So I recommend that you do your due diligence and be very careful about, who your physician recruiter is. When you are working with the locums agency, be very careful about who the locums agency is, who the recruiters are, how they do their business, and then just do your due diligence with the firms and agencies and potential employers, because this will save you a lot of heartache on the back end. The other thing to do when you're working with the recruiter is to be honest with them. Let the recruiter know what it is you want in terms of your job, what it is you want in terms of a locums assignment. Also, let your recruiter know if there's any issues that may come up that may pose a challenge to you getting a job or getting a license or being otherwise employed. That is not necessarily a game ender, but that would just let them know what they're dealing with so that they won't get any surprises on the back end. And a lot of times, if you're upfront and honest with them about some issues and some challenges and some struggles you may have had, they can present things in such a way and help you mitigate some of these obstacles. So it's best to be honest and upfront with them in the beginning. And also, y'all, be nice. Now, I understand that, when these recruiters call you, that is oftentimes not in the best situations. We're tired, we're stressed, we're working. A lot of times I'll be in the middle of in the ICU running a code or intubating somebody, and my cell phone will go off, and it's just aggravating as crap. And then sometimes you're just tired and you just don't want to be bothered. So when you don't want to be bothered, don't be bothered. So what I mean is, you don't want to come across as rude or disrespectful, because that's just rude and disrespectful. But at the same time, realize that it's a small world in terms of physician recruiters. They all know each other. All of these companies are parent companies. They're sister companies. They're owned by the same people. So you don't want to get a reputation of being difficult to work with. And when you are working with the physician recruiter, I highly recommend that you make it as easy to work with these recruiters as you can make. So meaning, be responsive to them, get the information to them that they need, because remember, they're in business to help you find a job. So the easier it is to work with you, the better you all's working relationship, the quicker you'll find a job. So that is something that I highly recommend. I talk to recruiters several times a day, either via telephone, email, texting, because you never know, your next job may be one phone call away, and it may be that one recruiter that you've been putting off talking to for the last 3 months who may have that perfect opportunity that just came up. So I highly recommend that you talk to them, you're honest with them, you're upfront with them, you ask questions to really understand the recruitment process, the locums process, so that you can come out on top. So I am excited. I want to share something with you all today. I have a special offer. I am offering copies of my ebook and my audiobook, Locum Tenens, Your Questions Answered. So please go to the link on the screen and download your free copy. And in that book, that ebook and that audiobook will answer all the questions you have about locum tenens, and it will put you on the right path to practicing medicine on your terms. Thank you so much, and have a happy Friday.